And then changing scene.
Hello, I suppose.
Hello. Let's do a sound check. I can see my bar moving.
Check, 1 2 1 2.
That's looking
I
good.
don't have a snare in my headphones. I've got no snare in my headphones.
You've got no snare? Oh my
I don't know
God.
what that means. I heard
No.
Eminem say it one time, and
Well, he knows best.
yeah,
I
he knows all
actually,
that headphones.
I'm actually a massive fan of Eminem's cameos. I don't know if I've told you this before, but I tell everyone his cameo in a movie called Funny People with Seth Rogen in Adam Sandler's movie.
Oh, yeah,
There's
yeah, I
literally
know
a
that
bit
one.
where he's like, he's sitting there, man, yeah, maybe do you ever wish that you just fucking died? And he looks up and he sees Ray Romano. He's like, oh no, that fucking guy. I fucking hate him. Adam Sandler's like, what? But everyone loves Raymond. He goes, no, I fuck. Hey, you! And then Raymond just legs it out of the pub with Eminem chasing him. But
Yeah,
love it.
I remember really enjoying that, but I watched it so long ago, I can barely remember. But I do remember. Doesn't someone like have cancer or something in that
Yeah.
movie? It's very sad, but also very funny at the same time.
Well, it's an interesting one. I actually shared a thing on Instagram recently. Those stories can be really riveting. The ones where people have cancer.
Mm.
Yeah, if you go to my Instagram, there's actually a link for a series of stories that's free on Spotify. And it's basically a DM wakes up one morning, walks out, and Death is standing in his living room. And he's like, hey, it's time to go. But you can challenge me like Bill and Ted style. You get to have one last game. And the
Yeah.
DM chooses Dungeons and Dragons. And it's a 3-part story about what happens. It's fucking amazing. Great
Of
story, though.
course you'd choose Dungeon. Like one campaign would
Yeah,
go for like 3 years.
yeah, the best bit is no, I won't reveal that because you should fucking watch it. It's
Yeah,
called
don't.
Death and a D20, I believe.
Death and a D. We should have just left it at that.
Death and a massive 20
Um,
something D.
something D's. There's a really good show by Ricky Gervais. I think it's called Afterlife. I
Love it.
really enjoyed that one.
That's an
Very good
amazing
show.
show. Mm. Anyways, we are recording this, so Sven, welcome to talking some hopefully interesting topics. But
Is that the name? Is that the title of this segment?
uh
Welcome to.
that's just the chat intro screen I made up once as a joke.
Oh,
Hang on, I'll just play that again.
some hopefully interesting topics. Look at that.
I know what you're thinking. It's genius because it says talking shit.
Talking shit.
It came around organically while I was drinking.
That I find a lot of things happen organically when you're drinking, and I
Yeah,
happen to be drinking tonight, so there's gonna be a lot of organics,
both my kids came that way.
a lot of organic things happening tonight. If you don't like organic things, moist things, then you probably don't want to be
No, you don't. You
watching
don't want.
this.
Yeah, no, that's 100% true.
That's a
Um,
disclaimer.
I will say that this will be the first ever debriefing.
Uh-huh.
So I've got my narrative hard on ready to go. I've got a few questions for you where we can actually discuss the campaign that you're running, which is
I
Beckoned
am
Blackest Night, which I
oh,
will never forget the title of.
first I've ever heard of it.
And we'll talk about this. We'll talk about some of the things. And I actually wanted to bring up something that happened in Monday night's session where one of our players, I think, actually outsmarted the entire D&D community, and I didn't realize until the night after. Answered a question that everyone's been asking.
Yeah. Answer the question that everyone has been asking. Well, I don't ask question because it's like whenever you ask a question, it's like you're submitting to someone else's superiority. So I make a habit of not asking questions. I just say statements.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it in a law room,
Mm.
otherwise known as a courtroom.
it's a room of the law.
It's the law room. It's where we lay down the law. It's kangaroo court in the law room.
It's also where you can learn about things that have happened in the past.
Yeah, it's also the library, the law room, where you keep all the lore.
The lore of of Ravenloft. Speaking of lore, what do you talk about? What question had everyone been asking,
Well, I'll
and
leave
what
that
got
to the
answered?
end. I'll leave that to the end. This is the first question is
Ah,
for you.
okay. All right. I just brought up my campaign notes and realized that it's actually titled Campagan Notes. So that's how good of a
Pagan
note
notes.
taker I Campagan Notes. So that's what I'm going to call it from now on. This is my
It's yeah,
Campagan.
yeah. Well, you can't actually call it campaign notes unless it's from the campaign region of France. If you're in the campaign
Campagna.
region of France, you can call it
It's
campaign.
yeah, it's just wine. It's white wine.
It's
Sorry.
just white wine notes. That's all. That's what you can call it. The white wine notes. Um. So
Okay.
I know for a fact, from memory, your first ever
Mm-hmm.
campaign you played in was
Mm-hmm.
a Curse of Stride campaign.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You are now running a Curse of Stride campaign. Have you always
Yep.
wanted to run a Curse of Stride campaign? Or was it something you're thinking about recently and built towards it? Because for
Um.
me, it came out of nowhere. I was like, expressions of interest. Okay, we're doing this. Wah!
All guns blazing. Look, I historically everything that I've done has been just a blatant rip-off of someone who's done it better than me. So
That's everyone.
that's everyone.
There's
No, I
nothing new under
like
the sun.
I I feel a certain attraction towards running things that are horror themed, and I've sort of discovered that over my time as a DM. I really enjoy trying to make people, and this might sound a little bit strange, I try to make people feel uncomfortable, unsettled when I'm running games because for me it's a relatively effective way of getting people to feel emotional attachment. Now, when it comes to D&D, your choices are fairly limited in regards to like full on horror. There are obviously campaigns where you could easily like add elements of horror to it, but this is the one setting, one campaign where it is written into it. I think, like
Yeah.
from start to finish, there are elements of horror in every campaign, obviously, but so that's one of the reasons why I chose this. Obviously, the second reason is yes, I have played it, so I have some sense of familiarity and obviously some sense of like it means something to me, this campaign, because it was my first campaign.
Yeah.
And then lastly, it's also a phenomenally written campaign for D&D 5e because they're a little bit hit and miss, especially the older ones. What you'll find a lot is like you have to go back and forth a lot in the book when you're doing your prep work. And this
Yeah.
is like if you I'm a perfectionist when it comes to DMing and
Oh, yeah,
telling
no, I
stories.
completely agree. I completely agree.
So, like, I need to know that the thing that I'm saying to you is correct because I can't stand creating conflicts in the narrative. So this book is, I think it's very well laid out in that you don't have to keep flipping back and forth and back and forth and back and forth in order to get little snippets of information. There's always an element of that because it's a
Awesome.
campaign. There's a lot of words, but this one's fairly well structured, I find.
I like that. Yeah, I agree with that. I actually, whenever I run a campaign for that exact reason, like the older ones where you had to flip back and forth to get all the information,
Mm.
I always did the first like 3 pages of something as my starting point, and then so I couldn't be wrong, I made my own world from that
Mm.
because I didn't want to do the flicking. But now you've
Yeah,
got a book
and
that you don't have to, so that's good.
yeah, that's exactly it. And like I've done the same thing in the past. I took elements from um, Spelljammer to create
Far beyond
Far
the
Beyond the
void.
Void,
Yep,
which I loved, and it was a phenomenal campaign.
it was. It was a good
But
team you had too. Pity you stuck with me this
because
time.
because of the changes that occurred in my life, I couldn't do that level of work anymore. So being able to spend that kind of time like making the custom maps and writing things and doing all this kind of stuff. When I'm running a campaign out of a book, it takes a little bit of that pressure away from me. All of the maps and assets are already there and ready to go. So for
Yeah.
me, just makes it a lot easier. And of course, I always add my own homebrew elements to things because,
I'm
you,
for this reason, I'm actually really looking for. I've got access to the new D&D Alpha, like the map, not maps, but the next one, the Project Sigil, and
okay.
I'm really looking forward to that because I've only just started having a look at it. But basically, it'll be a case of, hey, I want to run a D&D campaign. You go into that campaign, and they've got 3D maps, like Talespire
Mm,
of Castle Ravenloft, and you choose which map you want and move your minions around. It's going to be all set up, ready to go. At the moment, everyone's building their own,
yeah.
but my guess is they're going to take a collection of those, put them online, and you can literally just log in to like 12 different castles and choose and start running a game.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
excited.
It's like, but it's like a double-edged knife, right? Because I think while it makes it like a lot more accessible, I think, there's something to be said for like spending at least some time putting it together yourself, I think, a
Oh
little
yeah,
bit,
yeah.
just to some degree. And
No, definitely. It's just if you're going to spend, if you want to play with your friends and you're busy,
yeah,
rather than
that's the way to
spending
go.
2 weeks preparing for a session or a week and a half of late nights, you can
Yeah,
now do in an afternoon just moving
just
assets
sit down and
around.
go.
Yeah, like you've got the story in your head. You just want them to walk into a tavern with a giant and a prawn, and you can just click those assets, drag them on. Like the thing that always got me was World of Warcraft back in like 96 or 90, like early 2000s. They had map editors that were so easy to use. You could make your own map and play on them really simply. And then we had 25 years, and the map makers for D&D were harder to use, and it wasn't even like
Yeah,
modeling and stuff. It was just pictures. And
yeah,
I was like, what happened to that 25 years? Come
I
on.
know. I know exactly what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. It's like you can play games that do this stuff really simply, but when it comes to D&D and tabletop role playing games, it's all of a sudden like you're 25 years behind in regards to like technology. It shouldn't be that difficult.
Yeah,
Everyone uses, oh, not everyone, but the majority of people are still using
roll 20
Roll 20.
and Forge.
My
Yeah.
God, it's like trying to run a D&D campaign with
I
Microsoft fucking Word.
I feel like roll 20, as good as it is and amazing as it has been, has the amount of support it's had for so long, it's led to a point where like because it was like people stopped competing against World of Warcraft for a while.
Hmm.
World of Warcraft got so big that like Warhammer Online came on and lost, and another game came on and lost, and they just get absorbed. Roll
Hmm.
20 was that,
Yeah.
and it's like a monopoly. It's just, bleh. But no.
But
Anyways,
yeah,
moving on.
there is a lot of there's like yeah, there's more competition now towards that, and but I think there's a certain level where like for me, I actually I you need that little bit of simplicity to it. I like a 2D map. I like tokens. I like having to be the person who describes to people what they see, but there's a lot of people out there who are like visual people and
Yeah.
it'll be really great for them. So
No,
it's
no, I'm with you,
good.
and that's exactly why I wanted to ask the question because that's a great basis for running a campaign. I'm excited about it. I've always wanted to play in. I'd actually said to Archie and a few other people in the last probably 3 months. I actually said to and I said to people online in Twitch channels when they were running Curse of Strahd, I said I don't want any spoilers. And then I was like, but I also have given up hope that I'll ever play in a Curse of Strahd campaign. So
I heard you.
when that came out, I was like, damn, take my money, and I jumped in, and like I'm excited. We've also got a good team we're playing with.
Yep, phenomenal team.
We got
Good people.
Dan, Christian, Jem, and Grace, and
Yes.
everyone just rocks my world.
Yep.
I'll quickly take people through the characters. We've got Bill, who's on the screen right now. who is a human sorcerer. However,
If you can read that.
he is a family of, like, he comes from a magical family, but he thinks he's non-magical, and he is currently an architect. We have Fritz the we'll go with Fujin because he's there. Human rogue. This guy is based on Kenjutsu Kamen or whatever it is, that anime, which is just fantastic. He's a less of a stealthy rogue, more of a frontline intimidation rogue. We have Thana, the Tiefling cleric, who I do want to talk about. She is a death cleric, and it is a very interesting character to watch and learn from. We'll go back to Fritz. Fritz, I believe, is a human ranger with her pet wolf known as Bright Eyes. There we go, Bright
Correct.
Eyes. And most likely going to be Beastmaster Ranger. But all in all, I'm loving all the characters so far. And I play Tane, who's an orc paladin, and whose heart's been filled. I've actually got to get on and make an intro because I want to make a good intro, like a punchy 3-sentence. Like, Tane is a orc paladin whose heart is filled with stories of heroism and grandeur, and blah 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 blah. But make it punchy.
Mm-hmm.
That's my goal, and I think everyone should have that so we can get straight into game and get a solid couple hours in.
Well, if anyone's watching this ahead of next Monday, I can give you a little spoiler. And this one, especially for you, because you're in the campaign. Next Monday,
I'm the first to find
there's
out.
not going to be there's no Bant topic up front. We're just going to be diving straight. I'm going to do a recap, and we're diving straight into it.
I love it. I love it.
Boom.
I do love banter topics though.
I do too. I do too. We'll do a little. We'll do
I'll
a
do one now. Actually, I wrote you one in chat. I was like, "What about a question?" Here's my question for you.
You know, I'm bad at improvising.
When you're a player or a DM,
Mm-hmm.
what is your alignment? Let's go DM. When you're a DM, what would your alignment be?
As a DM, huh?
So chaotic,
Neutral, chaotic neutral, maybe.
chaotic neutral.
Yeah,
I wasn't suggesting
yeah.
chaotic. I was gonna go
No, no,
chaotic,
no.
neutral, lawful.
I dig it. Definitely not lawful.
Yeah,
No.
lawful is your doing a module, and
Well,
going rules as written.
let's break it down. Let's break it down a little bit. Like, I guess I don't fudge. I don't fudge rolls. I don't add extra hit points to creatures or modify their AC or anything like that in order to make it more difficult for the players. I roll it as is. There are times when I have maybe altered things a little bit in order to make it more cinematic and more gratifying for the players, but I've never done it to make it more difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely, I don't think I could say that I'm lawful because I do make some alterations, but I think my reasons for that are altruistic. So maybe I'm chaotic good. Maybe.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that.
Mm.
I would agree.
Mm.
I actually would have suggested that.
Except when it comes to people's animal companions, then I'm definitely chaotic evil. Yeah, I don't
I
like those.
I
Kill them.
believe I'm true neutral.
True neutral. Okay, you wanted
Uh,
to talk that out with me? How do
yeah.
you get to that?
Basically, I am. When it comes to rules, I will completely ignore them if they don't make sense, and I'll follow them when they do. It's one of those things. I don't go rules as written. I don't go modules like strict down the line. I also don't do all homebrew. I borrow and patch together stuff that makes sense. When it comes to playing the game and how I treat my players, I'm very random and chaotic in that sense, but there's always a grander storyline in place. And
Mhm.
I never, like, my general thought in my head is if I'm ever pushing them that something's evil, it usually will loop around and come back to good. And set, like, one of those things, like, I think that everything has balance. So when you have an evil character, their morals have to make sense to the point where they can believe that they're good or they're doing something that's understandable. So it's one of
Mhm.
those things where I've been known to push people right to the edge in games, and then when they find out the actual truth later on, they find out it wasn't as bad as they thought it was. The NPC was tricking them. But it's one of those things where I think the ends justifies the means, both for evil and good. So I'll push them really hard morally on the top and bottom and philosophically. But I stick to the rules and I stick within the guidelines, never going too far either way. I am willing to kill if it's narratively thing or if the dice decree, but I'm in no way, shape, or form dedicated to any story or person. It's just one of those things that I think it has to make sense. The story
It's
has to
really
make
hard.
sense.
It's really hard because there's so many facets to things as well.
Yeah.
In a way, you could say that, like, I'm evil, as well, diabolical even, because I go one, like, it's one thing to kill a character. It's another thing entirely to consciously try to, you know, make a player develop a psychological and emotional attachment to their character in order to foster senses of anxiety when they come into situations that could be not
Yeah.
very beneficial for their character. So in that way, I'm evil because I do that intentionally. I do that very, very intentionally. I make people attached to their characters so that when it comes time to combat, they have that
Fear.
real sense of dread. But at the same time, the reason why I'm doing that is because when they overcome those situations, it also comes with a sense of accomplishment and holy shit, that was amazing. And
Yeah.
when their characters die, they have a very real emotional reaction to that. That's what I'm looking for because it makes them
So
engrossed in the story.
you do it Jordan Peterson style. If the game's too easy, pick up another cross to bear.
Yeah.
That's yeah. If your life's too easy, pick up another cross, another responsibility. If the game's too
Well,
easy, make it harder so it's worthwhile, and you'll
yeah, but I don't want to
learn.
make it harder on myself. I want
No,
other
on the
people to make it
player.
harder.
You be on the side
Yes.
whipping the
Yeah,
player.
yeah.
You
So I'm
can whip.
not getting more crosses to bear. I give them. I'm gonna give them crosses. Like, I got heaps of crosses. You can have them. You can carry them.
Ironically, 2 campaigns ago, I literally started a campaign with my players carrying crosses up a hill
Well,
to
that
be
wasn't
crucified.
controversial at all.
Oh, well, it turned into a very comical scene. But no. So, anyways, that's awesome. We're going to start off session 0, I think, went splendidly. Session 1, we started in the tavern,
Yep,
met everyone, everyone introduced each other.
they did.
Aragal or Seagull or
Uh,
Guzgull
How'd it
or
go?
I'm just going with all Christian's amazing names he came up with. Uh, yeah, he gave us a mission to go out to town.
Hmm.
I really love the way that session ended with
Hmm.
Christian's dream or Fujin's dream being smothered by bats and uh,
Yep.
uh, he is ancient, he is the land.
Hmm.
That I thought was a great way to end the episode. Yes, the
Thank you.
next episode we kicked off when we're on the road. I actually thought that was a really smart choice.
Hmm.
Because morning scenes are great for building a little bit of character. I will quickly just jump. I'll see if I can bring it up on the screen. Let's see if this
Do you want me
works.
to? Do you want me to vamp while you do that?
No, that's all right. I got it here. But
No.
I really like the morning scene where we talked about. Let me just bring the time up.
Yeah, I think
40:13.
those scenes in the morning when you've woken up and you're discussing what's happened, they're great, but you need to actually have had something of significance happen beforehand, and we had not very much. I didn't see much point in dragging things out and having that scene when we'd already been introduced to these characters. So that was my reasoning behind that.
No, I loved it. I thought it was a very smart choice. And
I'm known for those.
Barovia. Under raging storm clouds, a lone figure stands silhouetted against the ancient walls.
so you won't be able to hear this, Sven. Actually, I might be able to make it so you can.
Oh,
But
it's okay. I can lip
this is
read.
this is your intro, which I thought was fantastic.
Of Castle Ravenloft. A cold, bitter wind spins dead leaves about him, billowing his cape in the darkness. Lightning splits the clouds overhead, casting stark white lights across him. The figure turns to the sky, revealing the angular muscles of his face and hands. He has the look of power and of madness in his eyes. His once handsome face is contorted by a tragedy darker than the night itself. Rumbling thunder pounds the castle spires.
Now, did you have a script?
Do you want to guess whether or not I had a script for that one?
You had a script.
You son of a bitch. Yes, I had a script.
I think that's a very smart choice because it was very well done. I really enjoyed it.
But to be fair, that was a script that was written 10 minutes before we went live. Or not 10 minutes.
Now,
but,
when you say
an
written, do you
hour
mean
ahead of
written or
time.
chat GPT?
Written.
Ooh, fancy.
But those people familiar with the Curse of Strahd campaign, and this is the introduction that we had at the top of episode 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so those people who are familiar with the Curse of Strahd campaign will recognize some elements of that. I took a blurb out of the actual campaign book because I don't want to lie to people here. I took a part of it and I changed it and I edited it to make it fit better with some of the changes that I've made to the campaign.
Yeah.
So I can't take all of the credit for that, I guess, but
No, you can.
I did.
You can.
It was.
That's all right.
I mean, I can. I can, but it was edited. It was taken from the book. There's like a blurb in the book. There's like a section. I've taken that. I've edited it and I've changed it to make more sense for our campaign. You'll find that a lot, and this might sound like cheating. I have a lot of stuff pre-written.
Yeah.
So
That's not
because-
cheating. That's just called writing. That's
yeah, but like that
apparently a
stuff
lot
that
of
I've
authors
written-
have things pre-written. Like before you get to the book, the stuff's pre-written, the story. I think it's a
Yeah.
good idea.
Yeah, so I write this stuff out because I've got a fairly good idea of where the story's going to go during a particular episode. So I'll write stuff down because pre-prepared stuff is always going to be better than improvising it on the spot. That's just a fact. But the improvisation comes in having to take what's pre-written and adapt it to what's happening on the day during the game. So I'll have stuff pre-written, but I'll change, adapt, get rid of, add to, and then have to adapt to what you guys are doing. But that intro was pre-written. I had a script for it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, like that's excellent. I think that's what you should do. I should do that more often. Because my issue is I write all these story ideas and I'm so focused on the characters, and then when I get into a game, they're like, "Where am I?" I'm like, "It's like a house." It's
like a wall.
Yeah. Imagine there's like a place and there's like a house and it's like you would have had to come into the room, so there's probably like most likely there's a door.
Still somewhere, yeah.
It was raining. It's not raining inside because there's this thing above you, like one of those things like a roof,
A wall, an up wall.
an up wall.
like
Yeah,
a
sorry,
wall,
an
yeah.
up wall. And yeah, I always forget the little things like inventing the world. All I'm thinking about is a whole heap of spirits and souls mashing together, and how funny it would be with this combination of personalities. So yeah, that's my big weakness. So I'm very impressed that you did that. The next thing I wanted to bring up was actually I really enjoyed Bill's calisthenics routine.
Mm-hmm.
And Grace's comment was, so I'm just going to hit play on this because I'm pretty sure this is the right thing. That's it, screen capture, turn that on. So this is Bill explaining his morning routine for his wizard that can't cast magic.
Bill wakes up 30 minutes before everyone else, and he does calisthenics. And he's in there.
Nice.
It's just,
I love it.
and does every single morning to make him feel like at one with himself. And what that is him casting mage armor on himself without knowing it.
Just to clarify,
Love it.
calisthenics is ribbon twirling. You know that.
Now, Grace just said calisthenics is ribbon twirling. I don't know. I think ribbon twirling might be a form of calisthenics.
Mm.
I don't know if calisthenics
No,
is just ribbon twirling. However, I will say it's very, very funny because the spell for mage armor is verbal, somatic, and material, and the material is a thin strap of leather.
Well, there you go.
So he could literally have a thin strap of leather that he uses for calisthenics and stretching and this, while saying a mantra like, I'll be a big boy, I'll be a big boy, I'll be a big... That's probably not it. He's probably got a much nicer verbal...
Well, no, that's canon now.
But yeah, that's canon. Yeah, sorry, Dan. But yeah, so he does, wraps around his neck and... But no. Yeah, but mage armor, he's literally casting mage armor at the start of every day without realizing, by accident. And let's just say he also does it after lunch to sort of help him digest his lunch. Really love that concept. Like he thought that through. I like that. Yeah, so went out. We went for a walk. Went through the forest with the mist other side. Before we got to the gate, we had the episode with Grace wanting to go into the mist. And this, like, so I will say, Jem, Christian, Dan, amazing. I did want to say that Grace, I think she kind of outshone us all on this one. Let me just see if I can get here.
How dare you?
I'm going to hit play. So if you do have the stream on, Sven, you will be able to hear this. I don't know how to share it over audio. Sorry about that.
I'd have to. It'd be on a delay, so I'll just just tell me. Yeah.
I'll tell you what happens. So basically, I'll just hit go. So this is.
I need a pee while you do that.
Yeah, do that. I'll synopsis it when you're back.
Is it kind of bad?
Don't do it in front of everyone.
I want to go into the mist.
That gentleman said not.
Yeah, I'd like to as well, but I think we should stick together. I get the appeal though.
But maybe if somebody else goes, then they could die.
I see Sexy Aussie in chat there saying I want to touch it on the Crit Myth stream. Sexy Aussie is a great bloke. Spent a lot of time with him. Amazing person. If you ever see him in your stream, make sure you say hello. And he does stream on Twitch quite regularly. So definitely tune in and say g'day. Anyways, let's keep listening to Grace.
Just saying. That could be fun.
That's true.
It would be a bit of a pointless death, though.
That, dear one, no deaths are pointless. There is no death that is pointless.
We discussed this last night, and I understand your point of view.
I kind of want to do it. I think I want to do it. You should send the dog in.
Okay, so that was perfect time to come back. First of all, how was your week?
It was. I wouldn't say that it was heavy. It was an average stream.
Like this one.
Satisfying. Oh,
Zing.
you get a bottle cap. Nice one. Bit of self-deprecating humor. I do enjoy that. Although I get in trouble for doing that these days.
Fuck that. It's what it's about, man. No, but so we just listened to Grace, who was saying that she wants to go into the mist. She wants to go into the mist. Maybe we should let the dog go in. Is it weird that I want to go in? Someone could go in there and die. And she's really happy about death. Now, this is what I want to say. I actually think that Grace, I don't know if she's a secret genius or whether she's feeling through it and finding it out. But I shouldn't say secret genius. She might just be a straight out genius. I've seen hundreds of videos on YouTube asking the question how to deal with subclasses for clerics now, for paladins, not paladins, but clerics and sorcerers and all that, because these casters are meant to be praying to a god to get their powers. So they're like, if I don't become a death cleric or a cleric of the death domain until 3rd level, how do I have that? I don't understand. And it's one of those things that I've been pondering, and I think Grace absolutely nailed the shit out of it. She is like a lower initiate of the death domain cleric, but she doesn't actually understand it. So she's still feeling out what is the purpose of that church. So she's got a little bit of power. She's so like the fact that she's like openly discussing it with Tane, my character. So like this is almost an apology letter to Grace. Like it ended up being good TV, like good streaming. But when Tane came in and he was like saying, you know, because he comes from a background of stories. So when he came in and he's saying, oh, that'd be a pointless death. And she says, there's no such thing as a pointless death. Death is always great. But then when she was talking about skeletons and stuff like that, she's like, but my God wants me to put them down. Get rid of them. They're evil. And it's like, well, if all deaths are great, wouldn't your God want you to die? So you get to experience death. And then she had this whole realization where she's pushing through going, oh, maybe I need to suffer more before that happens. And like, honestly, like that line of thinking is exactly what a level 1 cleric would be. And I'd never even consider. I think I did a stream or two talking about this stuff and actually asking, like online, what do you guys think? And they're like, oh, I think she might have role played the perfect 1st level cleric. What's your thoughts on this?
What's my thoughts on this? My thoughts are multifold. And first of all, it comes down to why I chose, you know, the cast that we have.
Yeah.
Now, we have a mix of players. We have, you know, Jam. It's almost relatively new to playing D&D. Christian, who's been playing D&D forever, you know, professional DM. We got yourself, you know, you've been involved in D&D for, you know, who knows how long.
No,
Dan,
not long. Me, I'm
not that long.
Yeah,
Yeah.
compared to my age.
So sort of in the middle. I don't know how long Dan's been playing, but you know he's phenomenal. But we have like a spectrum of each aspect. We got people on the one side, you know, who are role play, improvise, and people all the way on the other side who are like, I want to do rules, I want to do combat, I want to measure things out, and I want to do that. That's the thing that they enjoy. And we have a good mix between both. Grace is all the way on the role play side. Grace, not unlike myself, is not overly keen on the combat side of D&D. Now, I don't like the reason I don't like the combat side of D&D is because people don't do it correctly, in my opinion. Yeah, they just go from one combat to another combat to another combat.
Listen. Just so you know, when you're on this stream, you don't have to say that. You say people don't do it correctly because you're right and fuck everyone. Continue.
People don't fucking do it correctly, okay? Listen up. I am the authority on this, so just listen, all right?
Perfect.
Up. Listen.
Nailed it.
Okay? I'm talking. People don't do it correctly. If you're going from one combat to another combat to another combat, just like we discussed earlier, there's no emotional attachment to those characters.
Yeah,
you have to
Warhammer.
build that emotional attachment. Otherwise, the combat has nothing. It's got no substance. It's just you rolling dice and being like, that's a 15-bit, it's AC. Oh, no, that misses. It's fucking boring. Okay? Yeah. I know some people enjoy it. That's fine. You enjoy that? That's great. It's not good for a stream. It's not fucking good. So
I actually did think, wouldn't it be amazing if you did a stream where it got you did the stream like this with all the mechanics and that, but then you actually did a second recording of the combat where you've got a log of what everyone did and you sort of break down what everyone did, so it cuts to them and you literally just sit there like in a recording room and it's like, I take out my bow and fire anything into its neck, and you know, and like actually so that you can either choose to listen to the mechanical one or the roleplay one.
Yeah, and some people have done stuff like that too. They pre-do the combat and then just narratively describe it. And
I'd love to.
some people like, some people don't. I like a little bit of mix of both. I want to have the combat, but I want to have that emotional attachment first. Now, like I said, Grace she's in the role play side of things. That's what she enjoys the most. But Grace is also, she is what's that thing when you're two things at the same time?
Juxtaposed.
Whatever I can't remember. People
Multiple
watching
personalities. No.
No, not that.
Dual.
No.
Something.
Where you exist as two different things. She is both a genius and has no idea what's happening at the same time, and those two things collide in the middle, right? She will just improvise something. She will just say something and then just roll with it. And I really want that. If everyone was just playing tactically, if you were thinking smart, no one goes into that mist. No one goes into that fog. It's bad, all right? But she was just thinking, she wasn't thinking about the tactical side of things. She was thinking about the role play side of things. So she was like, going into the fog is a good role play choice. I'm going, like, it's what my character would want to do.
I thought it showed a lot of trust in you as well.
Yes, and we have a lot of trust between each other because we've been doing this together for quite some time. And now they have that. You can say that, oh, it was a dumb thing because you got that point of exhaustion from it. Yes, but it's also added so much narrative flavor. You know what I mean? Just that simple decision to do it. Now, the other side of Grace's particular playstyle is she will improvise things, but she will also forget, and she will actually do something entirely different that is completely contradicts the thing that she rolled, so that she improvised last time, and it can create some conflicts. But that's okay because, like I said, we've been doing it together for a long time. So I don't think that she was like thinking so much about the mechanical side of things. She was just thinking about the organic, like, narrative side of things. Like, her character sees these things that are counter to what she's been taught her whole life. Yes, she is going to be like, I can get rid of this, because she is also naive, being young and never having left that, sort of
convent, whatever it is.
Safe environment when she was taught these things. And this is her first experience now.
Yeah.
In the real fucking world.
I love it. Like, I really enjoy it. I think it's like, you're not wrong. One of my favorite things from Crit and Miss in the old days was her and Ali playing together.
Mm-hmm.
That was some of the funniest shit I ever saw. They were always trying to kill each other for some reason. I have no idea why.
But they were either in a relationship or trying to kill each other.
Yeah, that's like, it was one of those fun things. Sometimes I tuned in just to see which. And like, it was amazing. But yeah, she's got that real wild card mystery, which is good. But yeah, the fact that, like, in my mind, like, I watch a lot of D&D videos, like YouTube. I would say probably most weeks I'm looking at maybe 5 to 10 hours of D&D content. That is just theory crafting, characters, lore, rules, all that sort of stuff. And then D&D, Dimension 20, all that sort of stuff
Actual
on top.
plays, yeah.
Actual plays. But like 5 to 10 hours a week would be hardcore that. And I've never seen anyone answer that question better than the role-playing she did. So that kind of blew me away. And I actually have a bit of a confession that when I was sort of, when Tane was talking to her about that, it was roleplay at the start. And then old man philosopher Mod started actually going, well, actually, no, that doesn't make sense. No, you can't, it won't work if you... And it wasn't until after I finished playing and I actually watched it back, I was like, holy shit. Like, oh my God, she was so on the fucking money. And the best thing is, my character's strength his background / flaws of being overconfident and filled with stories of grandeur actually covered up my ego and my needing to tell everyone how philosophy works and how death works and stuff. So a bit of true mod started coming out then, but it worked well with the character. So I feel like it slipped by the audience, and it slipped by everyone in the stream. But in my head, when I watched it back, I was like, oh fuck, I started preaching to her when I was actually witnessing some of the best role playing I've ever seen. So
Yeah.
that's a bit of a confession from me that I was caught aback with it, and then on rewatching it, blown away. So to Grace, you'll never see this. You'll never see this. But I'm sorry. You did amazing.
Someone clip that.
Do not clip that. Do not clip that. That is a private moment between me and Grace's spirit, not Grace in person. If she ever asks me about this, I will deny it flat out. And I'll say mean things.
Yeah, like I said, it was. I guarantee you, it was not something that she thought about beforehand. It was just her reacting to the world.
I think she was in her character. I think that was like some what do they call it when you like get into the character and you living that character? Well, come on, what's the word? Come on. We can do this.
Duality. That was the word I was trying to think of before. But no, it's method acting.
Method
right?
acting. Yeah, she was living that character. She literally, in the moment, was like, "Oh, that actually makes sense." Yeah, no, actually, and I was like, "Wait, did she bait me into saying this so she could react to it?" Because, damn, did she just Sven? Did she just get me to mansplain to her?
Yeah.
So that she could manipulate the audience.
You mansplained lied on air, buddy.
Damn, I'm getting cancelled.
Yeah. I didn't want to say it until it really blew. It really went
when
viral.
When I get killed next week, I'll know it's because that's you just enacting the punishment for mansplaining on your stream.
Yeah.
And then pretty much. Then I'll be like, no, but that's you mansplaining to me, and you're like, fucking it's DM-splaining, motherfucker, and I can do that. Godsplaining. But no, so we had that amazing scene. Like I think I'm gonna like clip that and do like a breakdown of it because I was fucking blown away by that. We also have Dan, or should I say William fucking Iron Dancer.
Oh, Billy.
I love that he was scared and he was ready to run away. Like that fuck. As soon as Undead's happening, he's like, I'm at the flank of the horse. And I'm like, you want to get up on the horse? He's like, yep, I'm up on the horse. I'm ready to fucking go. I love that.
Yeah, well, he's an accountant, right? Not known for their combat bravery.
Yeah, I'm really, really interested in what happens when we get into combat, because him running off could be a death wish. Him staying around could be a death wish. I wonder if any of the spells are going to have to be rolled, like, to see if he hits the right person as he does a spell out of reaction or something.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how he's going to handle that as well. And Dan, again, is a phenomenal, Dan is a great tabletop RPG player. He's the exact kind of guy that you want. He's enjoying himself. He'll be silent, and this sounds really bad. He'll be silent and let other people role play for almost the entire episode or entire session and be happy to have that happen. He'll step up and do his thing when it's right for him to do it, but he has got such good etiquette and that he's like, these other people that are doing their thing, I'm going to let them do their thing. And if it makes sense for me to come in.
His morning ritual is that's why I actually chose that as a moment. His morning ritual and how he actually went about that was one of those moments that showed his experience, because he was like, I just want to let you know that I did this beforehand. And then as you were discussing how it would go down, he's made the call. He's like, actually, I'll just explain how it works. That way we don't have to do that when we get to combat, if we get to combat. Which he should have said. He didn't say if we get to combat. He tried to tell you, he tried to explain to you that we were going to have combat, which is why we didn't have combat, because you were going to Godsplain to him. I get it. But yeah, so instead of doing it when he got to combat, he was like, actually, calisthenics, blah, 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 boom. It's now completely there. He's got mage armor on, and we all know he's done it accidentally, which is fucking amazing. So he made the call in the moment, like, actually, it will make more sense to do that now. So he's not afraid to step up to the DM and say, I think this will work better. But he's also willing to sit there quietly and just take it all in, which is a quality I am looking for in my life.
Knowing when to talk and when not to talk is great thing. And another reason why I have the cast that I have is because I trust all of you that if you're starting to talk, it's because what you are saying is important and relevant to the story in some way or another. Yeah. You
Yeah.
get some people, who play D&D and they'll just start talking about something that is not helping the narrative, not interesting in any way,
Yeah.
shape, or form.
Like
I
the
trust
football.
you guys that when you start talking, it's because you've got something that needs to be said that's going to really add something to the narrative.
Yeah. Also, I will point out on the screen right now, you won't be able to see it. I'll do it. You might be able to see it tinily, but
Finally, that's not a
tinily.
word.
Christian, you might have to crop him slightly to the right next time. I swear, as I was watching him during the stream, he
Yeah.
just kept slipping off the side. I was like, in chat, Christian, move back to the left. He's like,
Yeah, look, I
he's a
noticed
funny
the same
guy.
thing, but it was too late.
No, that's
and I
all right.
wasn't, I
Yeah,
wasn't going to go back
I
and
was just-
change it.
and
But
he
yeah,
he actually just moved his chair along. But as we all know, we have that beautiful comfort spot where we slowly just move back to it because you lean a certain way, and so that happened. But I was going to say, Christian's right at the start. Like, I love the way Christian thinks about the game because he's very similar to myself. I don't meet many people that are like me, like think of the same things. So as soon as we're talking about the morning, I was like, at the end of last session, Fujin had a dream, and Christian, without missing a beat, goes, "I actually have been thinking about that. I don't think he would have been the one to tell him." And I was like, "Awesome!" And we all just moved on. But like, that would have bothered me all session, and he obviously was thinking about the same thing. Like, is this something my character would have passed on? Because it does affect how people would have acted when the sounds came out and the words came out again. So,
yeah, and the choice to withhold that information as well can come back later in another scene once it's cooked for a little while. You know what I mean? And then maybe he'll let someone know that he's had this dream, and that scene now has a tie to something that has happened in the past, and that's like a really important part of a good narrative is something that has tied to something that has happened in the past. So hopefully it comes up again sometime. It might not. I don't know.
Yeah. And so I love that. A couple more points I just want to go over before we tidy up, ask one more question, then crack on. I just want to stop playing D&D for a sec, cut to the break.
Okay.
People, during Beckoned Blackest night, in the break, there's a 10-minute break in the middle of each session. So it's like a 2.5-hour session with like a break in the middle. What is it, 8:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time on a Monday?
Yeah, we go live at 8:30. Yeah, so usually around 9:30, 9:40ish, we'll go on a short break.
We'll go on the break. The 10-minute break, Jem actually does a reading. This time was from Dracula. And last time it was as well, and probably will be next time. But doing a reading, a horror reading, using one of those emoticons where she's a pumpkin.
Filter.
I love it. I love it. A filter, that's it. A good filter.
Gefilte
Love
fish.
it. I would recommend releasing those readings separately as well. Just like a little thing that you can watch. Maybe even you could chop them into episodes. So you got the thing, and then the filler episode, and then the next episode, but that was all just episode 1. But I really like them because, especially in the last one, Gemma starts, she's doing a reading, and then she starts breaking down the parts, and I actually really fucking enjoyed it. So she's talking about Dracula and how the guy visiting the castle that's trapped looked out the window and saw Dracula climbing down the castle, vertically.
It's a good part. I like that part.
And she's like, and that would be terrifying, but we have all the knowledge and information on vampires. He wouldn't have. So imagine that happening. That would have been terrifying because you've got no answers. If we saw that, we're like, monster or special effects. Obviously, this is a David Blaine dude, or I need to stab him in the chest. you're gonna have to make the call pretty quick. I actually had this conversation with a friend recently. If a whole heap of people dressed up as zombies and started breaking into your house, like on Halloween, and like actually acting violent, breaking through windows, and you ran up and started decapitating them, would I thought they were real zombies be an actual defense? And I was
yeah,
like,
that's a
in our day and age, like seeing somebody crawl down a wall, it's like, I don't know, it's got to be special effects, right? Right?
oh my god.
Right?
It's like this thing where like yes, we have this knowledge, but we also know that these things aren't real, right?
Yeah.
So if you were to look out your window, like let's say you're staying in a castle in the Carpathian Mountains sometime, and you look out your window and you see your host crawling down the side of the building, like if you see that, you're not immediately going to go, oh well, that's a vampire.
No.
You're going to be looking at it and going, well, your brain is going, vampires aren't real. Vampires aren't real. It's not a real thing. You're looking at it and you probably won't even believe what you saw. And I think that would be similar to as well to what Jonathan Hart would be like, no, that doesn't happen. It's not real. No.
Yeah, it could also be
I mean?
like Buffy, like the original Buffy. Can you remember that one?
No.
The original
never
movie
watched
of Buffy, there's a guy that goes out partying with his friend. His friend gets taken by a vampire while they're like drunk and stumbling. The other one gets ripped away. He's like, where are you, man? And he just heads home. The next night when the guy turns into a vampire, the guy's like passed out drunk in his bed and he hears tapping on the window. And he walks in and his mate's standing there and he's like, hey, man, let me in. All right, come let me in. And he's like, oh, yeah, man. Wait, hang on. What are you doing, man? What? And he looks down and the guy's like flying 2 stories up.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just about to let him in and he's like, oh, fuck. And it's a really scary scene because the guy starts banging on the window going, let me in. And I was like, that's a pretty real life version of that fucking situation where all of a sudden you realize one of your friends is flying, begging to be let inside. You're like, I don't believe in vampires, but
Yeah, Jem came to me before, and she only recorded that one like during the day, on Monday before that episode when we went live with that episode, and she was like, I'm so happy, I'm so proud of this one because I actually started to break it down and create like connections between the experiences of like Jonathan Harker and like what we're going to experience when we're playing in Beckoned Blackest Night. I'm starting to see like those links and starting to create those links because, and I spoke to her about this as well, like we know that the big bad of this campaign is a vampire. We know that. Your characters don't know that. Your characters are the Jonathan Harker in this situation.
yeah.
And I haven't spoken to you guys about this yet. And I like to think that maybe either your characters don't know about vampires at all, or maybe if you have a particularly high religion, you know a lot about undead. So maybe Thana might know of like vampire lore, right?
Yeah.
But that lore will be a lot like vampire lore as in real life, like very contradictory, a lot of different. You go to one country and vampire lore is completely different to what it is in another country, like because it's all around the world. You got it in Indonesia, in Ireland, in
India.
Eastern Europe, all over the place. They've all got vampires, and they're all so wildly different. So even though she might see Strahd, she's not going to necessarily make that connection. Oh, he's a vampire, and even if she does, she won't know exactly what that means.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things that she might have revelations or issues sleeping and dreams and stuff because she's got that connection with death. Like, it's one of those things that we won't find out till we get there. But if anything, the only thing Tane would know is stories, which, as we know, bards tell stories. They could be very, very embellished.
Embellished, yeah. They could be embellished. You don't know what's right and what's not right.
My father told me you do this, and you get the rice, and you put some curry sauce in and throw it in. And no, okay, no, it didn't work. Let's go. Let's go. It's time to go.
if you
Apparently-
teabag the vampire while it's in its coffin, that's the only way to end them
Yes,
forever.
making sweet passionate love to a vampire. It's the only way to welcome to
Gently caress them.
Beckoned Blackest Night After Dark. But no, so I hope Jem is feeling better, but do give her props. I actually really enjoyed it when she started breaking it down, talking about it. It did actually take me into the feeling of so it was like, instead of just reading, we're now getting into the mind of someone dealing with vampires, which is really cool. So
Yeah.
well done. Fantastic.
Yes.
So-
And those intervals were her idea as well, because we had like the short rest, and viewers drop during the short rest, and
Yeah.
people don't know how long it's going to last, and she was like, what if I just read from a book in the public domain for 10 minutes? Could we get a timer? And I was like, yeah, I'll have a look. And we got a timer, and yeah, I think it's fun. A little pumpkin reading a story.
That was great. Sorry, I'm just moving your picture so you're under the camera, because I realized that every time I'm looking at you, I'm actually going
Yeah, you're looking off to the right. Yeah.
like a crazy person. Telling me more.
Well,
no.
here's actually a fun fact as well about last episode. It's the first time I've done an episode with 3 monitors. I had 3 monitors set up.
Wow.
Last time, because I got so many fucking tabs that I have to have open when I'm streaming. I got a 3rd monitor and just put it over here. So my
Yeah.
camera's over here now. Like when we were streaming on Monday, it was like over there, and I had it was like the Starship Enterprise. I
Yeah.
could bring something up on the main screen, and there was like a Klingon over there and some Vulcans.
Hail the Klingon
Vulcan-
ship.
It was amazing. I'm gonna do it again because it took a lot of weight off my
Yeah.
off like streaming.
I've actually been looking at getting a monitor that's vertical.
Yeah, I want that
'Cause-
too.
Yeah, because I haven't got one, and I saw my brother using it for coding, and I was like, "Oh shit, you can get that! I forgot about that." You just change the view
Yeah.
from landscape to portrait, and you've got this whole wall of text you can look at rather than having to scroll down.
I've got 2 ultra wide monitors, 3440 by 1440,
Damn.
and that's still not enough when I'm DMing and streaming at
But
the
I
same
bet
time.
it's great for porn.
I
to
guess
each
if you got a
side.
really long penis, because they're side by side,
Oh,
so
no,
it'd have
no,
to.
no.
it'd have to be
Mine's like
really
an
long.
iPhone, not even a maxi iPhone. But no,
So
100%, man. Like having 2 ultra wides and then having a 3rd one for your streaming
Yeah.
setup or whatnot. Is that what you had? Like,
Yep.
Yeah. All the
Yeah,
information on
so-
these 2, and then your OBS on the little one.
I had that 1080 monitor, and I sat it beside over here, and I had OBS over there. I had the VTT next to it,
Yeah.
then my notes right next to that. Then over here were your cameras, and then I think I had, what did I have on the end bit? I had something else on the end bit over there. I can't remember what it was, but yeah. So
bet
and
you
that was
did that.
phenomenal. I've only actually spoken to Jem about this, but streaming and DMing at the same time takes a lot out of me. Anything I can do to make it any easier, I do. If you watched the last episode 2, you can actually see me, because I had a bucket of drinks with ice in it.
Yeah.
You actually see me grabbing ice out of the bucket and rubbing it on my forehead because I'm overheating. And I had air cons running over there and over there.
It is Townsville though, so I'll.
It's
also
but like
Townsville. But no, I hear
it's
you, I hear you.
Townsville. I overheat. I overheat when I'm streaming just because of like how much I'm processing mentally, and then I didn't sleep that night.
Oh, that's no good, man.
Couldn't get to sleep, and that's like a pretty having
that 'cause you
difficulty
were
sleeping
excited?
after streaming.
Overstimulated.
It's just I had a lot to drink.
Fair enough.
Let's not beat around the bush. I had a lot to drink that night. I was still like I fully in control of what I was
See,
doing.
you've got no excuse. In episode 1, I drank too much, but that was
Yeah.
because I was at the tavern, so I was playing my thought was Tane Niue's done this massive walk all day. He's exhausted. He gets some beers into him. He's pissed.
Mhm. No, I drank the exact right amount, maybe just a touch more than I should have, but I was feeling good. I had a good buzz.
Nice.
Didn't have a headache or anything like that, but just there is a lot because, like I said earlier, like when it comes to DMing, I am a perfectionist. I can't just be like, oh, I'm just having fun. I am having fun, but the fun for me comes from doing it to the absolute best of my ability. And it might not seem that way because I play the long game a lot, but like it's I now not only um like rules and narrative and making sure that you guys are having fun, but also making sure that it's as entertaining as possible for anyone who's watching the stream.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like, "Oh, you don't need to worry about that. Just have fun. Just have fun.
No,
Just play the
you
game."
do need to worry about that.
Yeah.
Because whenever I am in something, I'll watch it back later.
Yeah.
Not because of vanity, because I like to see my bad habits and try and stop them. So
Yeah, and
before
and,
last
and make
stream,
it better.
I moved a few things around so I wouldn't be playing with my keyboard or anything like that.
Hmm.
But no, I hear you, man, and like it can be exhausting, and
If you
it
if
is
you want to
important.
just have fun playing D&D, don't freaking stream it. Don't stream it. Yeah. If you're gonna stream it well. Okay. It adds an extra element to it. If you
does.
just want to have fun, there's no reason to stream it. Just play it with your friends and just have fun. Yeah. This is fun for me. I like making an entertaining product for people to watch or not watch, depending on the view count, which
Yeah.
hasn't been particularly high. But we're
Dude.
just getting started again.
And also, like, I guess it's different from you because you've had shows where it's like big views. But honestly, like, some of my favorite streams I've ever done is when one person comes in and just goes, "So who the fuck's that guy?" Just in chat. Who's that guy?
Yeah.
And you can actually, because there's two people in chat, you're like, well, you see, this guy did, and they're like, oh, fucking really? Why didn't they do
And
that? And you're like, oh, I'll give you that.
it goes from like you see that little count, and it goes,
No.
One.
Then it goes like this because somebody else joins in.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I actually had one where a bloke from Russia actually jumped into chat and we gave him a character because,
Okay.
it was a very loose game. But it's nothing like your games. And like for me, like if you look at my computer, I've got like 400 hours of D&D that I have saved, but the ones that I truly enjoy doing, I've actually edited down. So like a good example is I played in Loki's game. He did a one shot on your channel, and in that I played a paladin for the first time ever. So this is the second time I've ever played a paladin. It was a one shot, and I did very little all game until the end when I rolled like 3 nat 20s in a row and did like a wrathful smite with a divine smite onto the BBEG and did like 170 damage.
Yeah.
It's masturbatory, man. Like that is an amazing game to rewatch, and yeah, it's also something that later on when my kids like D&D, I can actually say, hey, this is what I was like when I was young. And
Yeah. I was
so
better than you at it.
yeah, I'm
That's what you can
fucking
say.
way better than them. Gotta get on my level. But no, so just to finalize, we went through the thing, the gates.
Mm-hmm.
What are the gates? Is that something that we'll find about later? Or is that sort of past now and we can actually say that is entering a new realm or something like that? Like that is because one of the comments Dan made was like, oh, they seem like they didn't come out of nowhere. This would be on a map. And 100% it would be on a map. Like it's
Yeah.
and don't give anything away if it is story related. I was just asking if that whole thing is past, the relevance, I have no idea in the lore because I've never looked into it. If it's not going to come up again, just say it's a cool thing that they do. If it possibly could come up, say nothing. 100% nothing. Just don't give anything away.
I won't give anything away.
Cool.
I'm pretty good with this. For me, the gates are part of the campaign. They're not a significant part of the campaign. I find the significance of those gates to be more symbolic than anything else, and I tried to emphasize that as well.
I think you actually said that, yeah.
Yeah, it's like you are stepping into like this is like a threshold. You step beyond this, you're in it. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
And that's why I tried to emphasize that when Christian stepped through and
The
his torch went
wind
out.
Yeah, torch went out.
Yeah, and that was actually just me rectifying my own mistake for forgetting that a torch only lasts an hour. Because I was thinking you'd been on the road for an hour, so I was like, this might be a good spot, and this could be a flavor way for having his torch go out, and he has to light a new torch.
I thought it was cool.
But
yeah,
for me, it's like the gates are more symbolic of like you entering into something else. Will they feature again sometime down the path? Yes, I'd say it's likely. In what fashion?
no,
You have to wait and see.
And two last things. There was a point where your evil side almost came out, and I swear to God, you were about to make Bright Eyes run into the mist and die. When you're like, there's a smell of death off to the side, and you're like, Bright Eyes looks at the, and like you didn't say it, but I saw a little smile come across your face. Like Bright Eyes looks at the thing, and I think you're just fucking with Gem. I think you were like, I might have to rewatch it and get the little clip, but you literally you're like, the smell of death comes off, and Bright Eyes looks, and moves away, and I was like, oh, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, no, for me it was, I like I said, I want to build tension.
Yeah, no, but it felt very purposeful towards Bright Eyes for Gem's sake, and I was like, ooh, you're gonna get in trouble later.
Can I offer a little look behind the DM screen in relation to that?
Of course.
Yeah,
love that.
Yeah,
love that.
All right,
exclusive.
All right. Yeah.
We're bringing you exclusive from the White House. Sven.
That whole scenario is, again, it's written into the campaign, but it's written that when the characters reach a certain point, they smell a hint of death. And I was like, well, wouldn't it be more interesting if it was Bright Eyes that noticed it first? Because, they're a wolf that have heightened senses. And that's why I was like, oh, and like retrospectively, I was like, oh, yeah, and Fujin, you actually do notice something as well. And that's just because he has the higher passive perception than most of the others. So that was just a flavor way of me involving Bright Eyes in a way that was interesting.
Yeah, I like that.
I did make some changes to that scenario, but the way you guys handled it, you
got to put your own spin on it. It's good.
Yeah. So it was, it's just a way for me to make Bright Eyes feel like they're also part of the narrative. That's why I had them. You would have noticed it one way or the other, but this was just a more, narrative way of sort of incorporating that and incorporating Bright Eyes into it. And like, is the DM going to make Bright Eyes run in there?
Yeah, no, that's what it felt like. But
did I think about it? Maybe.
I did notice that you put Bright Eyes realizing it first and go to Fujin. We went from there into the village where we cut through the mist. We've been guided by the mist to a room. I did forget that I was walking the horse with William on it, and I ran up and just left him in the street. So I'm just going to retro thing that I tied the horse to a post and go there. So we're ready to go in. Then we have some tech issues, which we'll sort out for next week, which is all good. Yeah. You ended it in a very strong way. Two questions for you. One is, at the session 0, Dan had a program where he could load all the characters in, and it made a beautiful sheet of everyone's passive perceptions and everything. Did you see that? And if you did, have you used it? Because that thing's amazing.
No, I refuse to use something made by anyone other than me. But I do have, and you guys can't see this, but if you just saw my screen just get a little bit brighter, it's because I opened my notes. I have, let's see if I can find. I've got 2,609 words of notes already, and that's just those episodes that we have. I have notes for each individual character that includes their passive perception, all of their stats, their background, class, species, gender. I've got character details that you guys have shared with me so that I can refer to that if it becomes relevant.
Yeah.
I have for each one of your characters a part that says roleplay hooks. So these are things that you guys have mentioned where I've gone, oh, that's fun. That's something that I'll be able to use in the story at some point. So
Yeah.
I've got I know their passive perception. The only reason why I said Bill in that instance is because he was the person in my head canon, that was probably the last person to enter the building. So he would have been the person who noticed those curtains moving around because he
Oh
would
yeah,
have
no,
been
that
further
makes
back.
sense. That makes
Yeah.
sense. And he's also on a horse, so he's sitting there looking pretty, looking around.
Yeah, looking around, seeing what's going on, and noticing something out of the side of his eye. And like I needed because of that, those technical difficulties that we had. I really love to end an episode on a cliffhanger or something.
Oh, that was so funny when Jim's like, "Let's end it there," and you're like, "Hold on, hold on, hold on. We're not just ending it with later. Well, hang on. Let me just find a something to hang my cliff on."
Yeah.
Did you know that the word cliffhanger actually comes from a story where they're literally hanging from a cliff by their fingernails? It's like an old
No.
English tale. Yeah, I was
No.
looking at where it came from. So here is the final question before we head off and we go. There won't be another one of these for another session or two. And I'm happy to have 1 or 2 people come in, but you'll have to come on every now and again because we always like to peek behind the DM screen and see what we can get off you.
Yeah, well, like I said, I have an appearance fee. This one's free.
This
Next
one's
one you
free?
gotta pay.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'll keep that in mind. So this one's a very dangerous question.
Best kind.
Who is your favorite player
There's only
and PC?
player NPC.
Now, if you answer the player one wrong, this is getting clipped and sent to Gem.
All right. There's only one real answer to this. Okay. There's only one thing I can say in this instance.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Say the right thing.
Clearly, the best player is me, and the best character is Arigal so far.
Fair enough. Fair enough. But
no, I love you all equally. You're all amazing.
that is the
in your
correct
own
answer.
way.
That is the correct
And I
answer.
appreciate everyone sort of indulging me. There's a couple of things I wanted to say as well for those people who are watching this. Some people might find that the first 2 episodes are a little bit slow. A lot of role playing, not much combat.
No, screw that. That's what it is.
That is intentional on my part. Like I said, I like role play, and the reason why I like role play is because it makes the combat and those tense situations even more engaging and engrossing for people who are watching it at home. And you guys are in the thick of it now. You're in the thick of it.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So
as I told you,
this
I've
next
been looking forward
episode.
to Curse of Strahd.
Ooh boy!
So, I give full consent of my character over to you. I'm 100% on board with whatever story you're going to throw out, and I will react accordingly. I'm very excited to explore my relationship with Bill and with Thana, and I'll have to work on the other 2 and the puppy because I haven't had much time with them yet. But very excited, man. So thank you so much for doing Beckoned Blackest Night.
No problem.
Is there? It's 8:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time. With Dan, who plays Bill Iron Dancer, Grace, who plays Thana, Christian, who plays Fujin, and Jem, who plays Fritz Longview. Did you have anything you wanted to say before we head off and have a lovely evening with our respective partners?
No, I just wanted to, of course, make sure you like, share, subscribe, follow this channel.
No, not
Among
this
Mates D&D.
Nope.
This channel.
I've
do it. Don't listen to him.
Actually, no. I've given up on my dreams of staying at 69 followers. Our new goal is 420. We're going
420
for 420
followers.
420 followers. When we get there, we'll start kicking people out again. We're kicking people out for quite a while on 69. It's funny when you reject people's follow. That might actually be why you followed me tonight. That might be why.
I'm pretty sure I followed you in the past.
You might have been one of the ones that didn't make the cut. I was like, he'll understand. Kick.
I didn't make the cut. I understand. No, yeah, no, do that, and make sure as well that you check us out. Crit and Miss, 8:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Every week on Monday is when we do Beckoned, Blackest night. But there's so much more content on our channel. So make sure you hit the like, share, follow, subscribe, get the notifications. You'll find us on YouTube, Discord, friend face, and Instagram, and the
Insta-talk.
tickety talks. So check that shit out and give us a little bit of love and tell your friends about us, because I guarantee you this is going to be one of, if not the best, Curse of Strahd actual play live stream in the history of mankind and womankind and everyone else. So you heard it right here. I'll
Well
stand by
said.
those words.
Well said. Perfect, man. Hey, thank you for coming on and having a chat with me, man. I love doing the debriefing. First of all, it lets your parts air out, and that's why we're here.
Yeah, we want breezy parts.
We're on breezy parts. We're airing out our parts in front of everyone. We should do it on a Friday, so it depends on Friday. But hey, good night, man. I hope Jem feels better, and I'll see you again next week on Monday.